Great, thanks, Gareth. I'll zip through these as quickly as I can. Some of this repeats something that you've heard before. So the programme started in the autumn. It runs for 3.5 years. The key things for you to note are that we've got a hard stop at the end of March 2024. So we're very keen to work through the rest of this calendar year to get the most promising challenges that are brought to us up and running. So this is a crucial period for us over the next few months as we work with prospective challenge holders to get things up and running. The rest of this slide, I think, really repeats stuff you've heard before. So we're keen on activity that will address societal challenges, improve public service delivery, and create commercial opportunities. We've got the 3 priority themes around accelerating decarbonisation, improving health and well-being, supporting, enhancing and transforming communities. Again, we flagged that a little bit earlier, so we can skip through this one. Carla, thanks. Now, this is an important slide. Who's eligible to apply? You need to be active in the Cardiff Capital Region. You need to be a public sector organisation or possibly a third sector organisation that's not commercially driven, not for profit. If in doubt, please contact us about that. And those who are eligible to apply are prospective challenge owners, are our primary focus at this point in the development of the programme, because we really would like to hear your ideas and potentially work with you to scope and frame and develop the challenge in this next period. Challenges that receive funding will need to demonstrate that they've been developed collaboratively, they've got engagement with relevant organisations, and they offer the prospect of solving a societal challenge and or improving public service delivery. There's a programme of activity that will see the co-creation of innovative solutions, so it's not off-the-shelf stuff that is being procured. There's the potential to deliver economic impact for the region and drive commercial scalable opportunities through the successful solution that would be developed to meet the challenge. They're the key criteria that we'll be looking for. Next slide, please. So we've got a dedicated team in place, and as Gareth has just said, that's the university, including ERLAB, working with the Cardiff Capital Region, but also engaging with support from beyond, the SBRI Centre of Excellence, Innovate UK, the Knowledge Transfer Network. As I said, we're very keen on walking the talk of collaboration and building a community here. As Gareth described, SBRI is a sort of baseline approach to how to address the challenge, but we're embracing the prospects and exploring the possibilities of other approaches, innovation partnerships, challenge prizes, and so on. And that's a conversation we'll have with individual challenge owners to identify what might work best for them. One thing I think we do know, and this is from research we've done on evidence elsewhere as well as our own lessons so far, engaging procurement early in the design and development of the challenge is important because that's crucial in the challenge ultimately producing commercial opportunities. So we do encourage engagement of procurement early in the process. We expect the programme to engage over time. The commissioning of the university as the delivery partner means that we brought research capacity. So we've got a reflexive, active learning process in place, and we can also try and learn from promising practices elsewhere, and we're bringing those ideas into the mix. And we provide some technical support ourselves, particularly Gareth's exceptionally experienced in SBRI, but we can engage wider technical support where necessary, and that will be on a case-by-case basis. Next slide, please. So the funding itself is staged and provides some support to actually deliver the project, engaging the challenge owners, working with ourselves in support, and potentially the suppliers, the solution providers. Under an SBRI type model, there would be funding for an initial round of feasibility projects, proof of concept or demonstration projects, and we're particularly keen to support this first implementation towards commercial scaling. And what we do look for and what we can advise on is where there might be opportunities to co-invest, to find match funding support for some of the activity. And again, Gareth in particular is well placed to advise on those opportunities. Next slide. So SBRI is one of the approaches we might adopt, and this is an indicative program just to give you a feel for what might be involved. An initial feasibility stage, which might involve up to 10 of the most promising proposals that the challenge owners receive, and they could be given a seed fund to actually explore and test the feasibility of their idea. If some of those look like they're promising, the most promising of those can be given some significant funding to develop, prototype, test, explore in further detail the efficacy and practicability of the proposal. And we've also, as I mentioned, got in our back pocket a potential third phase, which would support the further scale up and potential commercialization of the most promising of the innovations that comes through. Now, the exact approach will be determined with the individual challenge owner based on the scale, ambition, and other characteristics of the different approaches that are available. So, but I thought it was just useful for you to get a flavour of what the project might look like. Next slide. So in terms of the support I've mentioned, we'll help you with the scoping of the problem, and we think that's important from what we've seen so far, help you with selecting the challenge methodology, and ride alongside you through the delivery process. But also, as we flagged at the start, the Challenge Fund is looking to build a network, a community of practice of people interested and wanting to know more about this approach. And as Kelly outlined very effectively at the outset, there are further opportunities, we think, for the actors in the Cardiff Capital Region and for Wales to tap into funding that's being made under competitive processes at UK level, and we want to try and build capacity and capability in the region and in the nation to be successful in that. And the Infuse programme is one tangible and major step that we're taking along with the capital region to try and improve our capacity and capability. Some of you won't be prospective challenge owners, but we're delighted you're with us, and there are roles for people to play at different stages in the Challenge Fund process. At this point, as I said, our priority focus is on prospective challenge owners, but we encourage everybody who's interested to submit an expression of interest form. It's very brief. It just basically lets us know you're out there, lets us know you're interested, and we can make sure that you're aware of the future workshops that are upcoming, and we keep you posted on the conversations. As soon as we can, we'll have a portal up which will allow much more sort of virtual interaction and engagement. And so we're keen to build this community and have an awareness of who's out there and interested. Those who are prospective challenge owners, please contact us and we'll work with you to develop your ideas. Full applications, and it's not a scary level of detail that we ask for in this application, but we've certainly learned some lessons from the first call, and we strongly encourage you to talk to us as you develop your application. We can signal what works well and what works less well. They will be due on the 1st of October. There's an assessment process that involves the team, our advisory board, and then the strategy board. That process is scheduled to run through the first 3 to 4 weeks of October. So decisions should be available by the end of October this year for proposals that are in on the 1st. And I think we're on, so I think this is my last slide. So just a heads up, this is the first of our workshops for this call. We've got thematic workshops scheduled for the next 3 weeks. Do come along if you're interested in one or any of these topics. They'll have some tailored content that focuses more on the particular theme, but they will again provide opportunities to engage with other like-minded people on the challenge approach. We'll be in attendance and able to field questions as they come to you. So please do come along if any of these are of interest. And then in particular, I strongly encourage prospective challenge owners to try and attend the bid writing workshop on the 21st of July, which is where we'll be able to perhaps give some more specific and detailed insights into what makes a good challenge proposal, and that'll set you up hopefully to develop your proposals in time for the 1st of October deadline. Thank you. So we have now a time a brief time to pause and take any questions that you may have. While I've been talking, I've noticed that one or two things have come into the chat. I'm going to read these out. So Gareth, maybe you could field this one. There's a question from Karen on housing and its eligibility as a public sector body.
Yeah, sorry. So is housing considered as within public sector eligibility? The question I always ask is, are you as an organisation governed by state aid rules? And if the answer is yes, then the SPRI challenge as a tool will allow the exemption to run a challenge which is state aid exempt. So if you're a housing association or an organisation that's governed by state aid rules, then I would say yes, you're eligible to apply. If you're a business, then you wouldn't be bidding to us to run a challenge. You would be bidding into a subsequent challenge that might come down the line as a result of us funding a challenge. I don't know if that makes sense or if that's confusing, but we're looking to fund the public sector challenge owners through our challenge fund. I hope that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, Karen, feel free to join in person the conversation, but if hopefully that answered your question. We had an earlier question from Sabana that I quickly responded to in the chat around whether cost saving or clinical efficiency were considered relevant outcomes, or whether the emphasis was on improving supply chains. Well, of course, you know, being greedy, we'd like to see all three of those outcomes. And as you will be able to see in the chat, I flagged something that was included on one of my slides. We're looking for challenges that address a public service delivery problem and also address a societal challenge in ways that offer the opportunity to co-create innovative solutions. So there can't be off-the-shelf solutions already available. This is not a fund that allows you to go and purchase what you already know you need. It has to be something that would take innovation to solve. But in doing so, we hope we address both that public service delivery problem, that societal challenge, and create new commercial opportunities for the innovators that are putting forward their solutions and drive economic development, as Kelly said at the very beginning, drive commercial scalable opportunities that benefit the Cardiff Capital region through that process. And you won't be, we haven't included them in today's presentation, but we will in subsequent workshops. You won't be surprised to hear that they form part of the assessment criteria for the proposals that we will be receiving. Let me see. Question from Holly. I'm here as a business, horticulture rather than public sector. When and how can I find out about challenges that might be relevant to us? Great, thank you, Holly. So the role that businesses play, I'll kick off and Gareth will then correct me if I get this wrong. The role that businesses play in challenges is first as a potential innovator with an idea that might solve the problem that's proposed and framed in the challenge. There's also the potential that they might play a support role in the process of developing and delivering that particular challenge. So, you know, Holly, without knowing the specifics of your business, and that's not really that important, if there are challenges that are raised around agriculture, horticulture, food, the spaces that you operate in, and you have good ideas about how your business might be able to contribute to addressing that problem, that challenge, then that's the time for you to stick your hand up and make that proposal. So you're here, so you're on our radar. We will be communicating each of the challenges that are established and funded in the autumn. You're welcome to participate as anybody is in the workshops during that next period. It'll give you a better sense perhaps of where some of the thinking is coming from, but it would be at that point that you're most likely to see tangible opportunities for your business. Gareth, charities eligible as challenge owners.
Again, it comes back to the same point really that I've just made. So if the charity is effectively governed by state aid rules, then I would say yes, you can be a challenge owner. If you're not operating in a kind of commercial sense, then yes, you could be a challenge owner. I think we'd have to look at it on a kind of case by case. I think the important thing would be if we defend a challenge that's being driven by a challenge, then we'd need to look at the sort of the route to market opportunities, the scalability, the wealth building capability. But I think I'm not against it. And equally on the last point that Rick, you just talked about on the question about businesses, in theory, because of the experimental nature of the Challenge Fund, we could run challenges where we partner public sector with private sector. So I'm not against that kind of approach. I think we've always got to be careful of what the state aid implications are. So there's always that kind of sort of balancing act. But I think if anyone's got specific ideas that you think actually this would be a strong challenge which would play to the local wealth building agenda, then I'd say have the conversation with us, and we can be the idea is we develop the challenges in a kind of partnership approach where we as the Challenge Fund team work with the challenge owners. So let's have an open conversation, I would say, with anyone that's got any ideas. I think what we can't do is directly fund businesses under a kind of grant arrangement. There are other products out there that that are available for granting sort of businesses and charities. But if there's a specific challenge or need, this program is very much about pushing boundaries. So test us, I guess is what I'm saying. Test us on it.
Okay. Thanks, Gareth. I'm gonna zip through a couple of questions now and move us on to the next stage in the schedule. So Howell, hopefully Gareth's comments have answered your question, but if not, please follow up with us later today or offline. Matt asks whether suppliers need to have an HQ or presence in the city region. No, they don't. We obviously encourage local innovators to get involved, but the program is open. The challenge owners need to have a presence in the region, but not the innovators. And Layla asks, perfectly scheduled, can you give some examples of previously successful challenges? And that is my invitation, a little behind schedule, to hand over to Linda and then to Terry, who are going to walk us through a couple of good examples of where the challenge approach has been successful. Thank you, colleagues, for your questions so far. Please do keep them coming. We'll have another round of questions after these two presentations and the breakout sessions. Linda, thanks for joining us, and over to you.
Oh, hi, Rick. It's Ali.
Oh, Ali, sorry, Ali.
It's okay. Unfortunately, Linda can't join us today because she's not too well, so I'm sorry you've got me instead.
No, not at all, Ali. You're very welcome. Thank you for joining us.
I'll do my best. Thank you. So I'm just, oh, sorry, could I go back to the first slide, please? Thank you. So my name's Alison Smith, and I'm the business analyst at the Spree Centre of Excellence.